I will be talking about communication, but it's mainly from the administrators for anything. Most of us, we talk about church and we want to get out there. Venerable Ball just talked to you about really preaching, and preaching requires some communication skills. And yet, we are also called to be the administrators of the church. If it's not ourselves, more likely someone else is your administrator. The church is like any other business, believe it or not. When it comes to managing it, administration is necessary for a good church, a viable church. And when you have that, you have to make sure that even when you have an administrator, but you as the church planter, you will be called into what I did talk about earlier this morning. You are setting the vision, you are setting the priorities. Even when you invite other people, it is necessary that you act as the administrator as well. You have to know what your church is going to be, how it will be, and it does involve finances as well. You will deal with that. You have to give some input. It will deal with your pastoral care skills, but also your basically secular skills. The both of them have to blend. But everything starts with communicating what you have. When communication is ambiguous, everything else falls apart. And so, one of the things that I wanted to mention in terms of administration, some of us, we are there, we're doing it, but what are we doing? The first thing is communication. No matter what you do, either you stand there, you might be the best preacher, but yet you failing in many other aspects, your church will not really be on solid ground. And so the first thing that you need to deal with is that clarity in communication is key. You have to be clear. I mentioned it earlier this morning. We have been in places where you scratch your head, you pull your hair, because whatever communication was sent to you is not clear. Just an experience. I have gotten calls with people saying, "What this synod? What are we doing?" And I really pulled back. I say, "I'm only hosting. I'm not the organizer." So you asking the question, "Do you sending it to me?" But you're sending it to the wrong person. I will direct it where it needs to be. Yeah, but many people read that because the synod will be at Epiphany, so this guy will know everything on it. I'm only opening the doors, close them, and to make sure that we're not burning. But somewhere, if people are asking that, it's that our communication more likely was not very clear. Okay, so from the sender, the message is not clear, or maybe the message is clear, but the receiver is not in the right mind when they're reading that message, so it creates confusion. You see, that's why it's key from an administrator that clarity in communication is very, very important. You communicate your vision, you communicate your priorities in ministries, and you also dialogue with all your people. The other thing that is there, well, in terms of clarity and transparency, many of us might be clear but vague. I talked earlier about obfuscation. You hiding the meaning of what you want to tell your congregation. And all of them go like, what did he actually want to say to us? And then it creates really little pockets in your own congregation because you lacked transparency in many things. Now, this diocese has been suffering a lot from each time, at least for me, I hear people saying, where is our budget? And this might put me in trouble when I'm asking that. Many people ask, what is the budget of our diocese? And each synod that I have gone to for the last 7 years, people have questioned, where's the budget? And then our treasurer always comes and he is just vague. We don't have, you don't see the budget. And that creates a sense of questioning because it questions transparency. Even when you're doing nothing wrong, because you refuse to communicate that information to others, people will create their own assumptions. You see, that's why even for me at Epiphany, usually I tell them, yes, I check at your finances. And I have access to that bank, but only online. I want to see that if someone is messing up somewhere there that you have not communicated to me, I don't look good in orange. You know, when they're coming here, you will not drag me into the mud. So I do check at our finances, even though I'm not the one, I don't touch the money, I don't know what they do, but I want to make sure. I can ask the question that I saw something there that I don't understand. I don't think that you have talked about it in the vestry, and no one has consulted with me. So what is that? At least I will want to know. So that transparency is not only required from the people on the other side, but it's also from you as the one who is appointed as the leader. You have to be transparent in everything that you are doing. One of the key for church planters, you hear those things that they call, what is it called? Discretionary fund. What is that? Of course, a discretionary fund, you can go get you a little Sancha on the side and be spending it on her. It's my discretionary fund. Don't ask me what I did with that. No, it's not. See, when I was Roman Catholic, everything I had a personal card, and I did have a church card. And it was up to me. They didn't come and ask me, give an account of that discretionary fund you have. But I felt accountable to people that at the end, I will tell them that there was basically, if there were people who showed up here when I give them the account, as I will tell them I helped the homeless. There was someone who showed up here for electricity bill that they cannot wait for a vestry meeting to meet. So I did according to my best judgment. This is what I did. At the end, I gave them a report. And many of them have asked, well, but that's a discretionary fund. I say, yes, I use it to my discretion, and I'm just giving you a report on how it was used. I did not ask you if I need to help the homeless, but at least I feel that I need to give back to this church that trusted my judgment on how this was spent. And they will not go say, well, give it back to me. That's transparency. If I'm going to visit a friend in Dallas, that's my friend. It is not a church trip. So I will then shift it back to my own card. And when we do that, if administrators cannot do that in a church, we're going to bankrupt the churches. See? So both the issue of being clear and being transparent is very important for any church administration, because what it does, it builds trust. Okay. Even people who groom people, what do they do first? They basically go slowly, and then boom, the people start trusting them, and they abuse that trust, and they basically harm them. But we don't do that. We trust the people who have trusted us with what we do, and we are basically to be transparent with what they do. The other one is also that as you, as the administrator, you have to practice what we call active listening. Active listening. And this is how I can sum it. The guy, Stephen Covey, when he did write the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of those 7 habits was seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seek first to understand and to be understood. Many people, they read that, but they're not listening to what it is. What he's telling us is that if Father Isaac came to me, that, okay, I want to talk to you, whatever it is, I need to really let him finish and listen carefully. Rather than cutting him and say, yes, Father Isaac, I really want to tell you this. So what happens, instead of us first seeking to understand the person in front of me, We are already wired. We cut them off because, no, I'm not understanding you. You need to understand me. And that can be to the larger churches. And here this morning we have been talking about different styles, especially in our diocese. But have you ever listened to people who really speak from an absolute way, that my way is the only way? And even really our diversity in the way we worship, but there are people who will not. Father Isaac here communicated his philosophy of ministry, but he is not saying that that's what should be for everyone else. More likely, if he were to be in charge of doing the service that we'll have tomorrow, he would have chosen what, 1928? I'm putting that. But
if I was doing it for me, I would, but that's not what we're doing.
Exactly. That's the thing when Stephen Covey is saying, seek first to understand and to be understood. I do not impose my own ways. Even when we deal with people in our parishes, we have to be open. We have to know the culture, as I mentioned first. It's not that what the gospel says that, but are you contextualizing your gospel? Who is it to? Because, like I mentioned, all these churches that we have in the New Testament, Paul was speaking to each congregation according to what they're seeing in that. He was communicating God's message, but within this culture. It was not that actually there's this blatant thing when I'm dealing with the Kenyans. Okay, you all basically have to do this. You Nigerian have to do this. That's what politicians do. And I hear that much actually in our churches, where basically even people who are saying, well, if you don't like the United States, then go back to your country. I say, which country? I thought we belong to God's country. But if you're not doing my own, then I don't listen to you. So administration requires that as you have a variety of people in your congregation, that you will practice that understanding first. People want to kill each other, and they're going to pull you in to become their ally. You will listen to them, and when you hear, you will be able to come and say, okay, let us now see. You might be overreacting here, or you are overthinking this. Let's think together. So active listening requires first for you to quiet all the biases and other things that you have. Listen to the people, and when you respond to them, they will be fine, and you can journey together. And that's administration. It is not management. Yes, you are a manager, but a manager basically is only driven by the results, that I want to do this and that's all. You listen to me, I'm the expert. In church, we are leaders, servant leaders. And so, which leads me to my next point, basically, that if you are dealing with people, you need to understand your audience. You have to basically see a good administrator is one who understands the audience they are dealing with. Which means what? You can easily adapt your leadership skill. If I'm in the presence of some people who just say, yes, Father, but yet you want to engage them, you have to change your style. But if you are into some other people who, unless you basically come with the hum and hit it in there, and that's the only time they act, then shift that. Many people tell you, oh, this is my leadership style. You don't have a leadership style except that you adapt your style to the audience that is there. That's an effective leader. If you sit in there, they're going to walk on you. But be able to say, this one here, when I'm dealing with this person, I know how I can approach them. Maybe I don't have to put too much pressure on them. But this one here, they require pressure, which means if I want them to be productive, I have to shift the way I deal with them. And that's the reality in our churches. For Sam, as you're getting into that, now the people you might have as the new church plant, they love you, they're coming. But once you involve them in ministry, each one of them will try to pull you away. But sit down with them. Don't run away from them. because they're the one who will make you stronger in what you are doing. And that's for all of us. I do not run away from. Yesterday, I was sharing with Bishop Orji. You want the extremes in your church. These one are basically the one that I don't know what we're doing. We have lost our mind and everything. We're going in the wrong direction. There's the other one that say everything is open. Let's explore all. When you get these two, they bring you to the middle, and then you do what is necessary. So know your audience, because when you are talking to a group of Nigerian, they're not the same as you are used to talking to the Anglo. When you are talking to the Kenyans, don't confuse them because they are actually as black as me, that we have the same understanding. No, try to dig deeper and find out, because that's what I talked about this morning. Contextualize your message. A good administrator communicate the context within which you are administering. Otherwise, you will not be effective at all. So seek feedback. Communication does not say that you only send your stuff and that's it. Ask people, how have they received the message? Seek that feedback. It's very important. I learned that the hard way. When I started teaching, it was like I'm the one who I told all of them. But then you get the university sends out those surveys and you start reading. I say, wow, I'm not going to be waiting now. What I do is the first week, when we finish the first week, I go to the students and I say, now the first assignment is, you have been in my class for a week, and what did you like? And what did you didn't like? And if I can be helpful to you, what we have to do. I seek that feedback, and it actually improves my communication. I do not lecture and then tell them, okay, that's it. I know I did this and boom. Each time I ask them again, what can I explain to you? Or if I'm not the one, I don't have to be the exact communicator. But by that question already, it is leading me to find that actually I did not communicate this well. I might go say, okay, Venerable Ball, what did you hear me say? And someone else can communicate that for me. It's the same thing in our churches. You do not have to be the primary speaker. Find out who are other people who can communicate that message better than you and use them. That's administration. And we can use that, all of us. There are many ways, but be aware, and this is my last point when you're dealing with communication. It's not what I'm saying now. You guys are looking at me. I'm speaking in many ways. It's my nonverbal. The nonverbal cues that I can send to you will be more powerful than actually the one that what I'm saying. You see, that's where we need to be aware of ourselves. As you talk to people, they will read in you if you are being honest or you are being dishonest. That's how many people leave your churches, and they're gone, and you only hear that I didn't trust my rector, I didn't trust my vicar, I did not trust those guys. They only said things, but they were doing something else. So body language is very important as well, and so you need to portray that always. If you have other questions for me, you can let me know. But delegation is part of you being a good administrator. What you cannot do on your own, identify the real people within your community, delegate that to them, and let them be the face of whatever you want to communicate rather than yourself. Take the back seat. It will save you all the troubles that you can imagine. Okay? Thank you.